Before I started with eXp 10.5 years ago, I thought I have to be able to show this model on a napkin. The problem you guys have, if you're having a problem recruiting, is you start off with the benefits, right? You start off with, we got Susie, Saucy, Kamba, but I don't even know. But you know, there's all this stuff, right, that International puts out. I saw it the other day, and there's like 30 things. So you start with the benefits rather than, you've got to explain why we have killed it, right? Why we have gone crazy. So you start off with this, and I use this as just a basic. I said, is it okay if I do this first? By the way, I only do this after what? What do we do first?
Tell me about yourself.
Tell me about yourself. Write it down, Team A. Team A. Tell me about yourself, and then how long do you go till you get all their needs?
As long as it takes.
As long as it takes. If you say, tell me about yourself, and they're a high I, guess what they're going to do? They're going to talk for 30, 35 minutes. They're going to start off at grade school. They're going to go to high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Kevin's going to go, whoa, this is going to be a long time. And guess what? Suck it up, big dog. Because the whole key is to get the benefits. I want to know who their spouse is, what their name of the spouse is. I want to know what the spouse does, because that says a lot. I want to know everything about them, and I want to know where they want to be in 5 years before I even do this. Is this okay? The problem is you don't do that. I do that. Okay? Remember this, and I'll tell you this story really quick, why it's all about them, it's not about you. And I see you guys do this a lot too. Oh, let me tell you why I joined.
Right.
Oh, I can't wait to tell you. I'm so excited. They don't care. They don't care. Nobody knows why I joined. I never tell my story. You go, Gene, you got a great story. I said, no, but I don't tell my story. See, in other words, it's all about them. Let me give you one example. 2006, I'm a team leader for Keller Williams, and my beautiful wife, Susan, who you guys have all seen, she's gorgeous. And 20 years ago, 2006, she got breast cancer. Boom. You know, we went through surgery. She's going through chemo, losing her hair, and she's got a blonde wig on. And she's sitting in the office right next to me, looking at a computer like this. And I'm here, and a guy walks in to interview. I'm still interviewing people. And I said, well, tell me about yourself. Guess what he says? Well, my wife's going through breast cancer. I go, really? Tell me about that. 45 minutes later, he signs up, he walks out, and Susan turns around and says, you never mentioned me. I said, honey, it's not about us. Is that about as blank as you can be? No. How easy is it for me to just go, Susan, tell them about you, right? All the sales books you've written are wrong. I'm right. I'm just telling you, it's not about connecting your kid plays soccer, my kid plays soccer. Your kid plays hockey, my kid plays hockey. Your kid plays hockey? Tell me about that. Why does he play hockey? Does this make sense? Yeah. When you get good like I am, I've been interviewing real estate agents for a long time, and I've been recruiting. By the way, if you recruit for anything, it's all about them. It's not about you. The problem is you start talking about you way too quick. Does that help you guys? Yes.
What if it's like a good friend or someone you know?
A good friend, they know you anyway.
Yeah, so
You know, they know you're goofy anyway, so don't. You know.
you start it off instead of.
No, start with what's your goals. If it's a good friend, what's your goals for the next 3 years, 5 years? Where do you see yourself? How are you going to get there? I want to help you, right? Because we've got it all. We've got Susie, Saucy, Cabo, Cabo. I don't know, seriously. You'll get into that later, right, when you're solving it. The problem is you get into it. I'm just trying to solve some of the problems you guys have, is you talk way too much, and you don't listen intently. Write it down. You listen intently. Okay. So I do this every time. I actually brought to the dinner table last night papers and markers. I mean, do you guys? I do. I'm at dinner, and I'm bringing my stuff. How are you going to do this without, right? And after I was done, I signed it. He said, "Could you sign that?" See, does anybody ask you to sign what you got? No, seriously, it happens all the time, right? Because everybody's visual, right? You know, why did Superman be able to see through the clothes? Because he was a guy. I just thought of that one last night. I thought, you know, every guy wants to see through the clothes.
Oh, no question,
Now, the women go, nice jacket, Gene. Like yesterday, nice women who came up to me, nice jacket, Gene. You know, and the guys are like, God damn it. Yeah, certain guys. Okay. Here's the napkin presentation. You can hone it. Don't worry about how long I take now, but you guys can hone it. You can get it down in like literally a couple minutes. Minute and a half. So you're not taking a lot of time. You go, I just want to tell you why we're killing it, right? Why we're the Netflix versus Blockbuster. Why we're the Amazon versus JCPenney's. Okay? There's the old-fashioned model. Remember who said yesterday on stage, it's all about the model? Remember that?
Yes.
See, here's the old-fashioned model. All real estate companies start off with an international company. I'm going to do Keller Williams because I was there 21 years. It's Keller Williams Realty International. And the international company, they divided the whole United States into regions. And the regions were the people that sell franchises for them. Okay? There was 32 of them. And then the regions sell franchises to who? The owners, the franchisees, right? The owners. And these are the people that take all the risk. They're the ones that sign the leases. They're the ones that put money down in everyone. RE/MAX, Century 21, it's the same thing. They said you're going to have to put money and sign a lease on bricks and mortar. And the owners do what? They hire what? Managers. Okay. And the managers get their staff. And I ran one for 12 years for Keller Williams. I was this. I owned 6 offices. I owned a region. And I was this for 12 years. So I know the model extremely, extremely well. And I tell them, I said, now at the very bottom is who? The managers try to recruit who? Agents. Agents. Now, I don't know about you, Mrs. Jones, but does that look top down to you or not? Is that a tops down model?
Yes.
Yeah. Because you make all the money and then you funnel it back up. Right? Now, the reason I saw this really well is I was in this model, RE/MAX, 3 years, Realty Executives, 5 years, Century KW, which is like Century 21, no different. For 21 years, they're franchises, basically, and this is how they're all set up. Now, we have a paradigm shift. You know what a paradigm shift is?
Yeah.
It's streaming video. What did streaming video do? Your Blockbuster. Once you could stream it to your home, what happened over time? Nobody wanted to go back in and get the tape. Streaming video just killed Blockbuster, right? What killed retail? On the internet, right? Once Amazon could use, I know everybody in here. I went through the phase of I'm not putting my credit card online. Yeah, take my credit cards because man, if that thing comes, I can buy everything I'm wearing today online, right? So, in our business, in the old-fashioned model, agents used to have to go into the office to get a computer. Did you know that? I went through this. There weren't laptops. I had to go in. I was turned down 3 times by real estate companies in 1984 because they did not have room for me to sit. True story. Okay? So, in other words, there was a reason to set up this old-fashioned model, but it's old-fashioned. Right? It's really like Blockbuster, and they didn't know what happened. So, the new model was this. And by the way, when I met Glenn Sanford, you know, he says, Gene, I said, first of all, I met him at dinner, and I said, Glenn, sell me Texas. I just challenged him. Guess what he said? I can't. I said, why? He says, we don't have any franchises. We don't have any regions. I said, wait. You don't have this? You don't have this? And we don't have this? He goes, no. I said, we just saved about 70% of the expenses of running a real estate company. And he goes, and I'm going, oh my gosh, this will be good. And he goes, Gene, but here's what we're going to do. I said, what? He says, have you ever read the book Pour Your Heart Into It by Howard Schultz? I said, yeah, I got it on my bookshelf, 1997. That's when he, 10 years after owning Starbucks, because guess what? They don't franchise. They own all of them together. He says, that's what we're going to do. I said, that's brilliant. Let's own them all together. But then he says, and guess what? We're going to have a stock. We have a stock. It's 18 cents a share. I said, what, we get to own stock? We get to, he goes, yeah, Gene, so what we're going to do is we're gonna take the agent and we're gonna make them the owner. So the agent are the owners with us. I said, that is brilliant, guy. You gotta be kidding me. He says, we're gonna sell real estate the same way they do at Cool Banker Centric-Tona. We're gonna be good, we're gonna be the president of the boards, we're gonna run women's council, we're gonna do everything. We're not changing that. So they're gonna sell real estate just like they do anywhere else, but guess what? There's 3 things they don't have, and that's what I go over. There's only 3 things. And by the way, international, we still have that, but eXp, they support the agent, okay? They're in a supporting role, not above them. He said, that's brilliant. But he goes, here's how we're changing the model. You guys know it, we're a cloud. We're a cloud-based, right? We're cloud-based, so we don't need the regions. We don't need the owners. We don't need this. We're not franchising, so we got rid of what? Expenses. Bricks and mortars. We don't own any leases. We don't own any furniture. We don't own the copy that the people come in and run all the copies at night and don't tell the office that they ran them. And they don't, right? I ran offices. So in other words, I said, I ran offices. Who in here has ran offices? Raise your hand. You understand what I'm talking about. You go, man, this is brilliant. Are you kidding? All right. By the way, I'm going to talk more about this, and these are the 3 things I'm going to show you today, Mrs. Jones. The second thing is we have what's called revenue share. And what revenue share is basically taking 50% of the company dollar to give it back to the agents who help grow the company in what's called revenue share, and I'm going to show you that in a second. Oh, it's just brilliant. And the third thing is we have stock in a NASDAQ company. We call it equity in the eXp. I said, can we tear this off? And I'm going to put this off to the side. And these are the 3 things I want to talk to you about today. Okay, that's it. There you go. There's the napkin presentation. Is that good enough? I kind of threw a lot of other stuff in there. But, so, let's do this. Do we have any more pieces of paper? Yeah.
We get one more.
There's only 3. So you can use the rest of the others if you want.
Okay. Does that help?
Yeah.
Everybody got it?
Yep.
You should get that down to about 30 seconds. It's simple. Now, wait, she'll turn off and put it aside. What do you notice about it?
Squares and circles.
Squares and circles.
Mm-hmm.
Go buy the book on how to do napkin presentations. You can get it. Can't get it at Blockbuster anymore because it doesn't exist. What is books? What is it, the book one? But you can buy it. It's how to do napkins. Squares they're boxed in. How big is the agent on the bottom? Tiny. How big's my agent up on top of the circle?
Bigger than anything else.
Bigger than anything else. Guys, this is psychological, right? All right? I usually do this in black, but that black marker wasn't good. Can I do the left side in black, David? Because you know why? Whoa. Black. Whoa. Right? And then pick a good color on the right. Doesn't matter to me, but make it bright. Anyway, that's very, very important. I'm only showing you stuff I've been doing since 1989. Most of you weren't born before 1989. I actually started recruiting real estate agents in 1989. I started my own company, and I had 100 agents in a year and a half, and I was with Realty Executives at the time, and I sold that after 5 years. And the only reason I tell you this is because this is what I've done. I've tried to perfect how to show people a model in a very short amount of time. If you start getting too complex, I know you as agents, you're going to disengage. And if you do flip charts, you've lost me on the second flip chart. I'm ADD on steroids, and most of you guys are ADD on steroids. I'm just telling you, if International puts something out, and I'll say it to their face, I'll say it to Leo here. Here's your recruiting guides they put out. I've never used any of them. I haven't used them for 10 years because they think from corporate, right? So they go, here's what we've got, you know, and I go, I don't show it like that. They go, what do you mean? One of the corporate guys said one time, Gene, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
They don't care you don't use their stuff,
Right.
right? It's just the fact that those guys have never recruited real estate agents like I have since 1989. Does that help?
Yep.
And I've been pretty successful at it. Now, how do you guys show rev share? I'm going to show you really quick. Okay? Watch this. Because the same thing. Do you guys just pull up that 7-level chart thing and show it to them?
Yeah.
Please don't. Please don't ever show that 7-level with percentages. Because they're gone. Their mind's going percentage 7 what but you right? So anyway, before I go to this, I'm going to do the rest here. Any questions on the napkin presentation? Anything? You got it? I can't believe probably at least 10, 12 people have came up to me and said, Gene, I joined because of the napkin presentation. I've never met you before in my life, but thank you. I mean, what a God's gift, right? Okay.
And Jean, you're typically doing that napkin presentation, literally on a napkin, right? You're sitting down with somebody,
Sitting
side
down,
by side.
and you sit them to the right, because I'm right-handed. I don't sit them across from me, because it's cross-eyed. I mean, you guys do listing presentations. You know how to do a listing presentation. It's a listing presentation when I get to that point, right? And you always put the people to your right, because I'm right-handed. If I was left-handed, I'd probably put it to my left. Okay. For the
Do you have
left-handed
a question?
Yeah. Who's got one?
Gino, I can't tell you how many big deals that I have been in at a dinner table where the seller and buyer have framed and signed off on a napkin multi-million-dollar transactions.
Yeah, you're using commercial.
Yeah.
Tucker's one of the top commercial agents. You know, the bottom line is, if you can't explain it on a napkin, let's just not do it.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The first listing I got, quite honestly, from an open house when I started, first week I was on the job, somebody walked in, and it was so funny. I was only business a week. So I went to the Plano Chamber of Commerce, and I had all the stuff they gave me. And the gal walks in and goes, "What's this?" And I said, "Well, Plano's the best place to live." I had moved there a month before. I said, "The schools are phenomenal. Look at the ratings. The parks and recs are phenomenal. Look at the rate." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, you know everything about Plano." I said, "Yes, I do." She went back out, got her husband, and they listed 14 homes with me. Because they were coming from Oklahoma to be a builder, and I took a piece of paper, I took a flyer, and on the back of the flyer, I had them sign the listing presentation. There was no listing. I didn't bring it with me. But I had just gotten out of school, Kevin, and I knew the 7 frickin' things that needed to be on a listing, right? I did learn something in the school. Now, saying that, I brought it to my manager. She goes, "You did what?" Right? Okay. By the way, you just deal with this in life, right? Go for it, man. Okay. This is going to be fun. I'm sorry you guys back there can't see, but you can see my butt. It's really good.
And there's a bonus.
Isn't that funny? True story. I'm 23 years old. I'm in a bank in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I'm leaving after a year because I moved into Dallas. And my manager was a woman, and she says, "I'm going to miss your butt." And you don't even know that one. It's funny about my butt. That was kind of cute. I didn't know. Okay, that's right. It's because this is better, right? Okay. I write this first, and then I ask them. I make a lot of my interviews interactive. This is really, really important to people. I say, "Can you tell me what this is?" They look for a while. If they're not a bean counter, "No, I don't really know what it was." I said, "Well, when you go to retire at 60 years old, this is true, because I'm past that, and you have saved $900,000, the financial analyst, financial planner guy will say, you can only take out 4% a year." I've had a lot of financial people, and they said, "No, because you're going to live another 25 years. You're going to live till you're 85. So we're going to only allow you to take out 4% a year."
Bless you.
God bless you. 4% a year, or $36,000 a year, or $3,000 per month. Now, along with your Social Security and everything like that, you'll be able to live. You have everything paid off. You got $900,000 in the bank. You're good. And then I look at the realtor and I said, "By the way, you don't have to say anything, but I'm sure you have 900,000 in the bank now.
Not.
Which I know it's 100%. Literally, not unless they just got inheritance from something. They don't have 900. I said, can I share with you? And they go, what? Can I share with you how to get $900,000 in the bank today? Listen to that script. Can I share with you how to get $900,000 in the bank today? And I can do it in 3 years. I'm going to say, Sue, this is you. And I'm going to show you, why don't we do a 3-year plan? Is that okay, Sue? Can we concentrate on 3 years? By the way, I want you to keep selling real estate, whatever. But as you're selling real estate, because I know that's what you've always done, what do you sell, 30 homes a year? Keep selling those 30 homes. But Sue, what I'm going to have you do in 3 years, I'm going to have you refer to me agents that I can help you recruit. Do you think we couldn't recruit 4 agents a year, Sue? What'd she say?
Yes.
Yeah, just 4, 1 a quarter. I'll do it for you. You just, as you're selling 30, just refer them to me. So after 3 years, I'm going to have 12 agents, right? They're all going to be cappers, because that's who we're talking to. And let me tell you, those 12 agents are going to be on your first level. And guess how much money out of the $16,000 that we get from that capper that we're going to reward you, Sue, for helping us recruit that person is what? You guys know? $1,400. Right? So 12 times 1,400 is 16,800. Every year, Sue, every year they sell real estate, every year they cap, you get that 1,400. Isn't that cool? Did you get that at Coldpecker? Did you get that at Weichert? You get that at Long and Foster? You get that at Debbie Holiday? And say that to them. And they go, no. And I said, it's just a reward for you helping us bring people on. I said, now, Sue, don't you think, by the way, we have a second level. These 12 people might bring people. Hey, let's just assume in 3 years they all bring 1. Is that too much, Sue? She goes, no. I said, I'm just taking 1. So now you have 12 people on your second level that you really don't know. Some of them might be in Cincinnati. Some of them might be in some other cities. You know what I mean? You know, but the bottom line is you have 12 cappers. How much money do you get from that, Sue? Guess what she says? Oh, $700. Fine, make them respond, right? And I said, no, this is when Glenn Sanford became a genius to me. Because he goes, Gene, it's 1,600. I said, whoa, that's more than the first level. He goes, Gene, I want it to be a teamwork. I want us to do this together. I said, you're brilliant. Because when I was in the KW world, it went way down. The first level went way down to the second level, right? So 12 times that is what? 19,000, right? 200? So what's the total of this? 36,000 a year, 3,000 a month. I said, Sue, I want you to go home tonight and tell your husband that you just found out a way you could save $900,000 in 3 years. And he's going to go, there's no way, we can't save $900,000 in 3 years. You go, yeah, it's as if I have $900,000 in the bank. Because honey, we're going to be making $36,000 a year, $3,000 a month for the rest of our lives. Okay? Now, Sue, I didn't even go further for you because I wanted to make it simple. We have a 3rd level, a 4th level, a 5th level, a 6th level, and 7th level. But I'm just, and by the way, since you're a capper, you're automatically qualified on your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd level. Okay? Is that good? Keep it simple. Is that good for you guys? Now, I know $3,000 a month is not that much. For the people on the East Coast, sorry. 3,000 a month is 3,000 a month in California is for a surfboard. Okay, so now you get the go-getter, right? So now you're everybody's different, right? You might be interviewing a manager at Coldwell Banker, or you might be interviewing somebody that used to be a recruiter in a different life, and you just a second. Any questions on that? I always do that. Any questions? You guys are not interactive enough.
Wake up.
Okay.
Well, actually, I have a comment question.
Yeah.
Levels 1 to 3 are unlocked for everyone, right? And then
They are.
Everybody's
levels
1 through 3
4
is
and
open.
5.
Everybody's open 1 through 3.
So
So
for
now you don't have to
powers-
talk about the FLQAs,
Yeah.
right? Right, it's brilliant. So 1 through 3, it's open. Don't even talk about the FLQAs, right? By the way, what's FLQA? Pronounce that really fast for me in South African. What's FLQA?
It's front line.
No, pronounce it.
Yeah.
What?
First line, kwalifiseerde agenda.
What?
Flip
We call it a little flag. Why did we make that?
Sê net voorste lyn.
It's a little flaga. A little South African. Okay. I always said, why did you do FLQA? Yeah, little fucker. Okay. Now, this is a true story, and I make it my own true story because my daughter Nicole, if you guys have met her through the years, Nicole was so. This is a true story, so it rings true to me. You can use her as an example, or you can just do it without her name. But this was real to me. So when I do stuff like this, I like to be real with people and say this happened. So my daughter Nicole is running tanning salons in Austin, Texas. I'm living in Austin, and I show her this because Nicole's a driver. If you haven't met her, you'll understand. One of my 5 kids, she's the driver. And I said, Nicole, let me show you this. And by the way, I showed her that first thing first. Just so you know, for a person like Nicole, 3,000 does not thrill the juice, right?
Yeah.
Right? So I said, Nicole, here's your 3-year plan. I said, you're a go-getter. You've already seen my numbers, but I'm going to show you how to get 3.6 million in the bank at 4%, right? That's $144,000 a year, or $12,000 per month. I said, right? Now I write that up there. Now her eyes light up. Now her eye. You know, when you get somebody, you go, okay, $12,000 a month. I could commit for 3 years, right? And she goes, and I said, so here, Nicole, here's you. The 3-year plan. On your first level, you're going to recruit 6 the first year, 7 the second year, 7 the second year. Well, you're going to recruit 20. She goes, I can do that. I mean, right? So 20 times 1,400 equals 28,000. Now I said, I'm just telling you, Nicole, what's going to happen because you're the driver. You're gonna get 5 of those 20 to do their 20. Okay? She goes, I can do that. Because she was a trainer at all the company. I said, no, I want you to identify the 5 people over here, and you're gonna go, I'm gonna do your 3-year plan. You guys are all getting 20. So how many do we have on the second level? 5 times 20 is what? 100. She goes, that makes sense. Times 16, which is 160,000. I said, now, I'm just telling you, Nicole, it will happen if you can get, in 3 years, 20 on your first, you get 100 on your second, they're all gonna get 1. By the way, I can show you my numbers. This will happen. You don't even have to do it, James. It just happens, right? So now we have 100 on your third, which is 1,000 per, which is 100,000. And I added this up for her, it's a true story, and it's 288,000, right? Let me check my math because I just did it last night. Well, guess what Nicole says? They all won't be cappers.
Right.
Some are going to be teams. Some are going to be quarter taps. So I said, you're exactly right. I said, Nicole, let's just cut it in half. Let's just pretend they're all half cappers. She goes, that makes sense. So it's $144,000 a year, or $12,000 a month. Have you guys ever seen Wolf on Wall Street?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Remember this scene in the diner where he comes in and he goes, how did you get that yellow Corvette outside? The guy goes, well, I made $82,000 last month. It is 1986. You remember the scene? And the guy goes, you did not make $82,000 last month?
Yeah.
And he goes, yes, I did. He says, you showed me a check for $82,000. I quit my job right now and I come work for you. Do you remember the scene?
Yes.
And then the next scene is the guy on the phone. Paulie, I quit. Right?
Yeah.
That was Nicole. That was my daughter, Nicole.
Amen.
She was making $100,000 a year, single mom at the time. She goes, I quit my job, I come work for you. And guess what? It worked, right? So I only show two. And by the way, there's a 4th level, 5th level, 6th level, 7th level. The reason I don't go too far on this is I think you realtors can only understand so much.
Yeah, TMI.
3%.
Right?
Yeah,
And
too
when
much,
you-
too much to take in.
When you take it and you just do too much, numbers wise, most realtors can't do 3% times something. Or 2.5% times something. Or 2%, right? You know, it's just true. Now, by the way, this is how I've been explaining it for 10 years. I'm showing you how to slam the ball. I'm Michael Jordan, and I'm showing you how to present it. Some of you are going to go home and go, like, I'm going to just do it different. Please don't. Just copy what people, I've copied almost everything people have done, right, through my whole life. Just tell me it works, you know. Now, you can do this very, very quickly. It's not as long as I showed you. I'm showing you to give you examples. But rev share is really, really important. They're not going to think they want rev share until you show it to them the right way. $3,000 a month has saved a lot of our agents' lives. Is that not true?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if it's helped you the last few years. Hello? Hello? It's like a God's gift. We never got the owner's money. We're getting half of the owner's money back to us. And that's what I tell them. I said, I'm just in a company that we get half the owner's money. Your company, they're keeping it all.
And we are the owners.
They aren't the owners. That's when you go back to the first deal. Now, I will tell you, like my sister Annie, she's really good. I would really get good at showing the cloud, right? Annie says she brings them into the broker room every time, shows them that, but you don't want to get into the cloud too much and tell you what. You know they're in. Because if they're not techie,
Yeah,
No, it scares
just
them
so
away.
you know,
It'll
yeah,
scare
if
them
they're over
away.
50 years old and they haven't grown up in a tech world, I'd say even over 45. It's the cutoff 45 to 50. We didn't grow up with computers. So the minute you start showing them the avatar and saying how cool it is, they kind of shut down. Right? Is that agreeable?
Yes.
Right. But if you go, I'm going to say hi to your broker. Go in and show them how to do the hi to broker. But don't get so. We lost one the other day because she was so frustrated. She couldn't get signed up, and our agent says, "Well, just go into the cloud." Are you kidding? Does that help? Yes.
So, do you show this to agents that you're speaking with, like on your first meeting with them, or do you gauge if they're interested in this? Like, how do you determine who this presentation is right for?
Okay. Here's the whole key to every interview. It's what they want.
Right.
So I've recruited agents and never shown anything.
Okay.
Vanessa Nunez, Elizabeth Riley brought her to me, and literally in 15 minutes I said, "What do you want?" She goes, "I want to go from 15 million to 20 million in sales." I said, "So if I can show you how to get from 15 to 20 million in sales, you'll consider joining us. I will commit to coaching you for 6 months. How's that? If it doesn't work out, you can go back." She goes, "I'm in." I signed it. She signed it, and I get them to sign it, by the way. I get them to sign a piece of paper and date it. We'll fill out the contract later. And she left Elizabeth Riley goes, "You didn't even talk about rev share. You didn't talk about the stock." I said, "Did she join?" She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Well, it's all about her." I didn't tell her my story. I didn't tell her why I joined. Let me ask you, for example, let me tell you why it's not smart to tell them why you joined. You want to join a country club. By the way, I've joined my first country club in Puerto Rico. It's a beautiful place. We got 2 golf courses. We got 21 tennis courts. We got 12 pickleball courts for you pickle. We've got horseback riding. We've got a beach. We've got everything you've ever imagined. So if you want to join the country club, if you want to sell somebody on the country club, what do?
Take them there.
Take them there, but you ask them, what do you like to do? But the problem is you guys go, "Oh, I'm a tennis player, man. I play tennis 5 times a week. It's awesome. This gal, Elizabeth, I know her. She's the coach. She's phenomenal." They go, "I don't play tennis." It's not for me. See, you guys, you go the wrong way. What I do is, why would you want to join the country club? Oh, I like horseback riding. Oh my gosh, let me take you over to the stables, which we have stables there. You can have your own horse there. And she goes, oh, this is exactly what I want. Does that help you frame what you should be doing?
Yes.
So, Jean, a lot of these meetings occur on Zoom.
Yeah.
So how do you do the napkin presentation?
Same thing.
Same thing?
Same thing.
Do you do it like on a piece of paper?
Yeah,
they
I
can
do
see
it. I do the same thing. What I really would do, and yes, I have. I've done and a lot of times I'll do it and show it to them, on the Zoom.
Yeah.
And I said, just so you know, this is no talks. This is no talks for all you women and guys. I said, this is very natural, no talks. I said, you get to be 69 years old, you look this good too. And that's what the women laugh, the guys just cringe. But you know what? I'm myself on the Zoom, right? I'm no different than I am in real life, if you guys know me. I'm a goofball. When I say that, I goofball to my kids. I love Nicole because she still laughs at my dad jokes. And I've known her since she was 10, and I'm so glad she still laughs. You know what I mean? But this is me. You can get my high school yearbook. And they said, oh my God, you were funny in the class. And I didn't know that was really me, but it is me. Now, you can change in life, and I have changed a lot. I've changed a lot. I'm not saying I haven't changed, but it's just my personality. Have you ever had Brent on a Zoom? He's Brent. He's Brent like you see him. He's no different. He screams at him at the Zoom. He's on. No. But that's him, right? So be yourself. Don't try to be Brent. Don't try to be Jean. Don't try to be Veronica Figueroa. Quite honestly, there's only one Puerto Rican. Right? I saw her this morning. She goes, "Do you think people would know who I am?" I said, "Oh, you only need one name." So that's the key. The key to recruiting is this: have more appointments than everybody else. It's nothing different than this. A lot of people ask me why I've been so successful, and I got a quote from my buddy this morning from his niece, and it said, "When you work as hard as the people you admire, then you can't blame their success on luck." So we just all worked hard. When I met Brent, when I met Rob Flick, who you'll see today, and I met Scott Lewis and Tracy Gagnon and Pat Hayes the first year, I went, oh my God, I finally have people that are working as hard as I do. I literally told them that for 9 years. I said, you guys, thank you, Lord. You put up, wealth charts too. You put up, I go to their house looks like my house. I mean, I had a wealth chart up with a yacht on it, and then I go to their house, they have their vision boards. So in other words, we all just work really hard. And you're looking for people that want to work as hard as you do. That's it. And then they don't say, oh, you're lucky. They understand what we did. And we're still doing it, right?
Can you repeat what you said yesterday about the C?
Yeah, CLC. Okay. Guys, true story. When I started this 10 years ago, April 24th, 2015, it's getting really close to that, in 1.5 away. I had 20 interviews with my top 20 friends. Peggy's one of them. All 20 of them turned me down. Now, literally, my best friends at Keller Williams for 21 years. You'd think one of them would have at least joined James,
Yeah.
But no, all 20 said no. It did not bother me. I actually had 3 icon agents. Elizabeth Riley was upset. Said they would join and did not join the first week. Elizabeth was upset. I said, no, it doesn't bother me. Why? Because I've been recruiting all my life, and that's what you guys do to me. You say you're going to come, and then you don't come. By the way, since I've been doing it since 1989, seriously, right? Michelle was one of them. So in other words, no, when I say that, I don't feel bad for them, whatever. But they call me crazy. You're going to a company. Do you guys understand how beautiful my life is?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I just found the tax returns from 2014, and I was making $700,000 a year at KW when I left. In the first year here, I made $39,000.
Wow.
What wife would let you do that? Frickin' nobody. Does that make sense? You have to be married to the right person. So amen to Susan. Because I went, my God, you know, we worked 21 years to build up something, and all of a sudden, goofy Gene's coming in and going, I want to sell everything and start all over. You all ought to pretend like you're me. If you're going to start all over, you're going to work hard to be the person next to you. Right? The problem with you guys, you don't want to start all over. You don't want to start all over. I did. It took me 3 years to get back to that level, right? And a lot of savings. I sold all that crap and it used up all my savings. If it didn't work, I'll tell you this story. So I started in 2015. This is really important because life is really important. So April 2015, right? Working. 2016, working. 2017 goes around and it's Thanksgiving 2017. I love Thanksgiving because we line up all the kids, I don't care how old they are, we love our family, we go around and say what we're thankful for. I don't know if you guys do that, you gotta do it, right? Susan's the last one, you know what she said?
What?
I'm grateful eXp worked. True story. It was stressful for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Does this make sense? It wasn't easy. If you guys think this is going to be easy for all you guys, you need to get your spousal unit and say, look it, I'm working 80 hours a week. I'm sorry. I'm still going to sell homes because I got to provide for my family. But I'm working another 40 to provide something so I can make $3,000 a month, $10,000 a month, whatever that number is for you guys. But you have to make, right? Does that help you?
Yeah.
Because it brings it home to me. I mean, you're looking at me and going, oh, you know, you were just crazy in the beginning. Then in 2017-18, I was lucky. And then when we got, you know, we're living in Puerto Rico, and we've got the yacht or whatever, it doesn't really matter, whatever my dreams were, they call me a crook. Because there's no way you can make that much money in 10 years, right? You gotta be a crook, something illegal. Well, guess what? Now I added the A. They ask me for advice. They call me now and go, how do I get rid of my Century 21? How do I get rid of my Remax? How do I get rid of the old-fashioned model? Now, do you guys have that written down, why I call it old-fashioned model?
Yep.
You guys have heard me say this before. Never call it traditional.
It's all.
That's what Inman does. That's what NAR does. But it's not traditional. Traditions, Thanksgiving. Traditions, Easter. Traditional is July 4th. Traditions are fun. They're not traditional models. They're old-fashioned legacy models. They're literally Blockbuster who said, no. People want to come in. I read the articles. People want to come in and get the video and see their neighbors. But the minute streaming happened, they couldn't adjust. Does that make sense? So we went from 1,000 agents to 25,000 agents in 4 years. In 4 years, we went from 25,000 agents to 86,000. In 8 years, we went from 1,000 agents to 86,000. Never been done in the history of real estate. Why? Streaming video. What do I mean by that? Bring it back to Netflix and Blockbuster. People didn't understand you can do real estate by Zoom. The last 3 homes I bought, I did not go see. I bought them online. The last 3 homes I bought. You guys sell real estate like this, and then you go, wait, I gotta go to the office to do what? Right? It's over. It's over. I always tell my buddies, Tucker, you guys are doing horses and buggies and we own cars. But you're still cleaning up the poop in the deal.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't know how, it's gonna take a long time for them to go away. They're not going away tomorrow. Right? You can go into small towns and still find Blockbusters. Did you know that? Tyler, Texas, you can still find Hollywood video stores. You know, they're still going to be there in places that they don't want. How's that help you guys today? Was I just awesome today?
Yeah.